Yo, what it do? What it do? It's that wrestling dude. And I'm joined here with the redhead that's still probably the only dude not freezing his ass off right now. Oh, Ginger Spice, what's going on, man?
I find it to be a little chilly here in Puerto Rico comparatively, but it ain't about me. Tonight we have a two-time champion with us. Who do we got, Wisa?
Man, we got the member of Marquee, Man on Hills champion and POW Florida heavyweight champion, the king of Florida himself, man, Daniel Starling. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I'm happy to be here. I missed the memo. I should have worn some sunglasses, but if y'all bring me back on, I'll remember next time.
There you go. We'll let it slag as your royalty. Let's jump right in, man. Who trained you? How long you been in the biz and where you based out of?
Uh, Based out of Davenport now. I've been based out of Tampa basically my whole career. I just recently moved over here to Davenport. I was trained by Jay Lethal and David Mercury over at the Wrestling Lab in St. Pete. I'd recommend it to any up and coming wrestler that's coming up, thinking about getting into it. Great school. I learned just about everything I can ever credit in wrestling to those two. And oh yeah, you asked me another question. I've been wrestling for about 5 years now.
Okay.
6 in September.
David Mercury, man, a tribesman.
Yeah. Technical alchemist.
Yeah. So you are a lifelong fan?
Oh yeah, my whole life. I say I cheated because my brother's into it and he's 7 years older than me. My mom and my dad would go to Norfolk Scope and watch NWA every Thursday. So like it's just generational. Like we were all fans. And then my dad looked at me one day and he's like, "Hey man, if you want to do it, just go. Like try it." And then since then, I've just been out doing it.
No shit, just like that. Just go do it, go try it. Was there any
Yeah.
discussion leading up to it? Was there a thought process leading up to it in the discussions, or just one day you just said go ahead and do it?
Nah, man, he was very shit, my bad.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Not exactly a professional. Put your shit on do not disturb before you do a podcast. Yeah, man. I was getting ready to go to college at the time, and I was thinking about like schools to go to, stuff like that. I just graduated high school, and my dad was like, "Well, like, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to wrestle, but you got to do, that's the natural progression. You go through school, you go to college, you get a job, yada yada." And he's like, "Go wrestle. Like, you're young, you don't have any kids, like, just go for it." And then I found J School in St. Pete, and I flew down.
Okay, so just like that, you picked up everything and moved down here just to go to the
Yeah,
wrestling school. No
yeah.
shit.
I didn't have any family down here. Still, like, I can't say I don't now. I've built a family with all the people I've met here in Florida through wrestling, but like, I don't have any blood relatives in Florida.
Yeah. That's what I told. I have a nephew. He's 23. So like he was like 18. And it's kind of asking the same thing. What do I go to college? What do I do? And I told him, man, just pack up and go, bro. No kids, no responsibility. That's kind of the same kind of advice I keep giving them. And advice I'm gonna give my kids, man. Go out there and grab the fucking life by the balls while you're still young, man. Because once you get older, you can't really do what you want to do anymore.
It's harder to start, like, once you have bills, rent,
Yeah,
car payment, all that kind of stuff. It's harder to go. But while you're still young, why not? Like,
yeah,
you've only got so much time before you
yeah,
can really start, like, before you have to start slowing down.
yeah. Who are some of your favorites? Who are your influences?
Ooh, so I know I say it a lot. The marquee says wrestling, give me the deal. But I'm a real student of the game. Depends on the day. Growing up, Ric Flair, I hate to credit him more than I ever, like, I do it in every sentence I can, but Ric Flair, Jay Lethal, I learned a lot from both of them. Jay Briscoe, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. But growing up, like as like a real young kid, my favorite wrestler was Sting.
Staying.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
makes
think
The
sense.
it's
people know that nowhere in there did he say Hulk Hogan.
no, oh no, 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 no.
Nah, he seems like a Crockett guy.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And I grew up and I would always hear. So my uncle Steve has stories about going to the bar with the Horsemen after they were at the Scope. So I've been hearing stuff like that since as long as I can remember. So like that Crockett NWA Carolina area, that's my core. Like that's my kind of wrestling.
Yeah. You got any stories off the top of your head from your uncle in the Horseman days at the hotel?
Not that I can particularly remember.
I'm sure they're ridiculous.
Yeah, and probably not any that I should say online, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it was some wild stuff.
Yeah. Were you natural since day one?
For the most part, like the in ring, I got almost instantly. I was in the same training class as Leroy Shogun,
Yep.
and if you ever have him on here, he'll tell you that he hated me in class because I would pick up things off rip. Like there would be, you'd have to go through 3 or 4 times trying to get it right. But for
Yeah.
me, it was just first try every time. And it was playful, but I felt like there was a little bit of like competitiveness there.
Yeah.
But when it came to talking, it took me a minute to really get out of my shell. I was really young. I was 20. I moved here from Virginia. I didn't know anybody, so I didn't have the best like verbal skills. And I've got this accent.
Yeah.
So, people like, and I never noticed it my whole life because everyone around me had it, right? Like to me, I sound like everyone else.
Yeah.
And then I came here and everyone's like, can you say that again? Like, and then big redneck accent. They're like, well, howdy, y'all. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. You're not helping me at all.
I mean, at 20 years old, man, you don't know who the fuck you are as a person. It takes you a
Exactly.
while.
Like
It takes you a while to figure out who the fuck you are, man. So I can't even imagine, like, no blame on that, not being able to talk like that and be full of confidence.
well, and I'm glad you said that because that's one of my biggest, like when guys coming out of schools come to me and they're like, so like character stuff and promos and like, I'm like, well, you got to grow up and you got to know who you are. You got to have your heart broken a couple times. Like you got to get fired from a job. Like you got to hit times that like really hit you in the chest for you to figure out who you are first.
Yeah,
But
because you could tell those super young guys straight out of school, like just generic, and you could tell like life hasn't whipped their ass enough yet for them to figure out who the hell they are.
yeah, the way I always verbalize it because there's a lot of guys that are like good fundamental promos. Like the verbiage is there, like what they're saying is there. There's no meaning behind it because they don't know how to mean it yet.
Yeah. You play sports in high school? You wrestled?
I wrestled in middle school. My grades weren't the best in high school, so I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played. I wrestled and I played football in elementary, middle school.
All right, so you know how to take care of yourself. That's kind of probably the reason why it kind of came naturally in the ring. You already had some of that athletic background.
A little bit, and you always played sports like in the neighborhood. Like you're playing basketball, you're playing football, you're playing baseball, but like never like at school. It was always you got off the bus and it's like, all right, come on, let's go down the street.
Yeah. Who'd you first break in as? You something embarrassing?
Oh no, I've been Daniel Starling my whole career.
Okay.
It's my real name.
Okay.
Like it's my legal government name, and it's just my mom and my dad watch, my brother, all my family, friends back home. So if I figured if I used my name, it'd be the easiest way for everyone to find me,
Yeah.
and I haven't changed from it.
Well, I mean, the star is already in the last name. Like it kind of just
That
flows perfectly.
that's what Jay said. I'm almost convinced to this day that Jay Lethal doesn't remember my first name because he's called me Starling from the first class to now when I see him. It's just like, granted, I don't think a lot of people know I've got a first name because it's just Starling every time I see anybody.
How long into it before you came up with like the King of Florida and started finding yourself?
So the King of Florida, I'm glad you bring that up. I didn't come up with that. Francisco Chiazzo was the first King of Florida. And when he passed, Thunder Championship Wrestling, they did a battle royal. And me and Frankie were pretty close. Like I wasn't one of his students. So like guys like TJ Brady, August, Rafael Delgado, Vice and Violence. There's a Venom and Violence and Vice and Violence. They're trying not to get them mixed up. Those guys were trained by Frankie. So those are the Chiazzo kids. And I don't want to step on their toes. I don't want to put myself in a group with them. But me and Frankie we were pretty close. So when they had the battle royal, I won it, and I've been carrying the King of Florida with me since then.
Makes you stand out too, man. That's how I first came across you, King of Florida. Representing.
Before then, I had some pretty out there kind of gimmicks. I was the Darling Daniel Starling, kind of like a 80s hair metal kind of guy. I had long bleach blonde hair, the guy liner, the bright tights and everything. I was on the Heartbreaks and Hookups World Tour, and it was a lot of fun, but it was too like out of who I am as a person. Like the
Yeah.
disconnect was too for me to like. It just didn't feel right. It
Yeah.
felt like you ever see a gimmick that was like, okay, this would look better if someone else did it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
That's kind of what it felt like on my end, and I'm glad I had the foresight to see that this is something for someone else and not something for me to do.
Yeah. No, because you carried like to me, you come across like the king of old school, Steve Carino, like it's an old school ass fucking wrestler, brawler type of dude, man. Like this, and it fits you perfectly. And I couldn't see you with the guy lying in the bright tights and doing all that shit. Seeing
It
you
was
now.
it was definitely far from my natural personality, but I'm glad you mentioned Steve Carino. He's actually one of my favorites to watch as a student of the game and as someone in the business. He's someone I've studied extensively. I do the old school expulsion, the reverse twist of fate, as a tribute to Steve Carino.
Yeah, I love me the king of old school, man. Him in late '90s ECW.
Oh,
He's so different compared to what everybody else is doing at the time.
yeah. And so ECW is a great example because styles of wrestling, right? Flavors of ice cream, as I like to call it. Everybody has their own style and what they like to do. And a lot of guys gravitate to the more modern, like, I don't want to call it gymnastics because that would take away from what it actually is. It's an art form in itself. But a lot of people do it. And a lot of people on the same cards do it. And it almost feels like the matches tend to blend together.
Yep.
And I always bring up the example of Taz in like 96, 97. Like if you watch WWF TV and even WCW at the time, it's big over the top, it's Doink the Clown, it's TL Hopper. And then Taz showed up and he's just a dude throwing people on their head. And that's a different flavor of ice cream for an audience that wanted something different.
Yeah.
So I feel like you need different styles for every wrestling card. Like
Yeah.
if you see two guy like if there's a match with two brawlers and then the next match is two brawlers and then it's like, okay, starting to get a little repetitive. Let's change it up a little bit.
No, 100% agree, and I think that's what's making you standing out, man. What's giving you success you have now is that exact thing, standing out, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
What would you describe your ring styles at for the people at home?
I prefer to think I'm an old school technical wrestler. I like to bring aspects of like the British world of sport, like 60s, 70s style in with like the Crockett 80s era and a little bit just like that much of like the mid 2010s Ring of Honor style. I try to take all of my influences and kind of put them in a jar, shake it up a little bit, and then that's the product that you see if you come to see the King of Florida, Daniel Starr.
Gotta go check them out. What about what's your finisher?
Currently, it's the J Driller. It's a double underhook pile driver, and I don't like to rename moves. There's a lot of guys they'll take a move from someone else and they'll name it something their own, kind of like to make it seem like they came up with it.
Yeah.
I like to pay homage to the people that I've taken inspiration from and taken moves from. So currently, it's the J Driller from Jay Briscoe. Before that, it was the Spicoli driver or the Death Valley driver, as it's more commonly known, from Louis Spicoli, also of ECW fame. And then
Yeah.
before that, it was the old school expulsion.
Okay. Go ahead, Ginger. You gonna say something?
Now I'm always having to come in and out of this commute because I
The
got so
party
many
you got.
people at the party going on in the background always. I don't remember what I was gonna say, but I'll come back to it.
All right, there you go. What you got another move? Because like, can you able to do that on bigger guys?
I've been able to so far.
Okay.
I haven't run across anybody I can't do it to.
Like someone tall like Leroy, you can hit him with that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. If anything, it's more of a weight difference than a height difference.
Yeah.
But I haven't run across anybody I haven't been able to hit with it. I think if I had to come up with an alternative move to hit somebody with to finish the match, it would probably be the figure four.
Figure four.
Big fan of the figure four. I feel like it's not done enough, but I also don't want it seen too much just because I want to be able to do it. That's very selfish. I want, if it's to be seen, I would like for me to be the one performing it, but I think the figure four doesn't get enough credit.
I mean, I think it's one of the most legendary moves out there. I mean, Ric Flair is like the most legendary wrestler out there. Ain't nobody gonna boo him out in the arena. They're
No.
gonna woo him, but they ain't gonna boo him.
If he showed up on Raw on Netflix, it would be a whole different story. But
Yeah, totally.
we might get there a little later down the line.
He's been training. I noticed Ric Flair's been putting in some work again in the gym.
No.
He got one more run in him.
Please no, please no.
Yeah, that last one was hard. That was.
It's gonna be
Please no.
Hogan and Ric Flair,
Oh,
WrestleMania, whatever is coming.
I can't. I couldn't. And I love wrestling in every form. Like if anyone sends me a match, I'll sit down and watch it. But that one, I don't think I'd be able to make it through.
Yeah. I saw one of the Bushwhackers still going strong.
Yeah, I can't. My memory isn't what it used to be. I can't remember if it was last year. No, it was 2 years ago. It was me, Bushwhacker Luke, and Ron Bass Jr. against the Hart Dynasty, not Dynasty. The new Dynasty. Jake Sterling, Kai Price, and Cam Fox. I don't believe they're a team anymore, but at the time they'd come out of T.J. Wilson's like training academy.
Okay. Oh, Bushwhacker.
But yeah, I got the team with Bushwhacker Luke. I got to be a Bushwhacker for a day.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, man, it was cool.
Did you come out doing the arm swing and everything?
Oh, absolutely. I did the arm swing. I licked his head. Like I was a Bushwhacker that day.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Only problem I have with it is I couldn't find the camo pants in time to wear them to the match.
Yeah.
In Florida, you couldn't find camel pants?
Not that fit.
The black and white one.
Okay.
Yeah, the black and white ones that didn't fit, like that wouldn't rip if I put them on, or that I couldn't swim in. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't find ones that fit like they should.
Yeah. What's
Have you ever had? What's your most embarrassing moment in the ring?
Well, I really haven't had much. I think the worst thing I could think of, and I managed to fix it by the grace of God. I figured it out. It was like my third or fourth match at the ACW Proving Ground back when it was in the Gulfview Mall. I come out and I'm doing my entrance, and the canvas is a little loose in the corner. And everyone tells me it wasn't, but forever I'm going to blame it on the canvas. I step in the ring, I do my pose, I'm really feeling myself, and I step back and I slipped. I did a back roll, I pushed myself to my feet and acted like nothing ever happened.
That's what you got to do, man. You got to play that shit off.
Oh, absolutely. They tell it in wrestling school all the time. The crowd shouldn't know if you messed up.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, when you watch the pros, you still watch them mess up from time to time. There's a whole botchamania. You see them and their entrances and everything. So it happens to the best of you guys.
It does, and it's you don't get another take. Like you get one try to knock it all out of the park the best you can. But if you can roll with it rather than reacting to messing up, you'll get so much farther.
Yeah. What's your best match out there? Like if someone had never seen you before and wanted to go check some of your shit out.
I got a couple.
Go ahead.
I wrestled Jay Lethal at Pride of Wrestling 2022. Personally, probably my favorite match. Might not be my best, but sentimentally, it's either that one or I wrestled Colby Carino for Pawcade last year. and my whole family was there to see it. It was up in Jeffersonville, Indiana. That was a special moment. And then more recently, I had a bull rope match with Hunter Law, Mayhem on Mills, the last time I defended the championship. And it was Wheezy T told me it was his favorite match of the year, and he had tears when I came out of the ring. So
I mean
I
to check
hope,
that one out because I
yeah.
was planning on going there, man. Some shit came up. I was pissed. I was
Hey
looking forward to that
man,
match.
it happens, but I'll tell you, any Mayhem on Mill show you go to is a blast from the top of the card to the bottom. Like, I don't have a favorite promotion. More so, just it's not great to show company bias. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say this was my favorite, but also please pay me to come here. Like, I don't. It just never works out that way. But I've been going to Mill shows since about 2020, right before the pandemic. And it's got back to what I was saying with flavors of ice cream. Like there's comedy, there's lucha, there's strong style, there's what I do, whatever you want to classify that as. There's just a little bit for everybody there, and it's a fun card, a good locker room, top to bottom.
Yeah, it's dope too. You stand right at the ring apron too.
Oh yeah, it's that PWG. You're right up on the ring kind of energy. There's seats, but nobody uses them.
No one.
They're just there.
Yeah,
If anything,
I don't remember the seats when we went.
Yeah, I don't remember those seats. I do remember pavers everywhere and people jumping off the top rope onto the pavers.
Yeah.
I've seen them put out seats. I don't. They may have stopped because nobody was using them, but I've seen it before where they put them out.
It's a dope location too, right there downtown too.
Oh yeah, my favorite part about Mills is that it ends 8, 9. It feels like maybe 9, 10. So it's perfect time. You're right downtown.
Yeah.
Grab a drink, grab some dinner. Like you're right there. Like you almost have to
get out of Orlando before the guns start blazing.
Yeah, yes.
No, but that's the nice part of downtown. That's not the downtown.
Yeah, no, it's not like the office or the patio kind of downtown. Like it's it's a nicer part.
Yeah, it ain't Wall Street people getting shot in the head.
Man, me and Tyler Uriah went on a tear for about a year straight. Every weekend, Friday we were in Ybor, Saturday we were in downtown Orlando. Felt like every weekend for a year straight because the Horsemen did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, you got a show, you go to the bar, you come home, you go to the gym, you go to the show, you go to the bar, you rinse and repeat. That's the Horsemen did. And I don't think I've seen more than 10 people on Wall Street that whole year. And then I heard somebody got shot on Wall Street in Orlando. I'm like, how? You could probably shoot 10 bullets right down the middle of Wall Street and not hit nothing every time I've ever gone. And the one time I'm not there, someone gets shot. I mean, it's tragic. I can't. I don't know.
I blame it on gentrification.
Yeah, I can see that because maybe I'm just a little older, but all the bars on Wall Street, it's like, why would you go there? Like there's 100 of them right down here. Why turn down the cut to get to Wall Street? I mean, it's just me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I used to live down there in my early 20s, man. And I went back in my 30s. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I work and I make money now. Why the fuck are we back at Wall Street with all these fucking young ass kids in here?
Man, I went maybe 3 weeks ago. Me and the girlfriend went, and I haven't been all year. And I say all year like it's not 2 weeks in, but I haven't been since like a little bit before Thanksgiving. And I don't know if like I got old and cranky in 3 months, but I went. I'm like, man, it's cold, it's loud. What are we doing here? Like, let's go back home.
Yeah, if I'm down there, we're gone before the sun goes down.
Yeah, I don't believe. That's how I feel about Ybor.
Oh,
like Ybor and Tampa, there's good food in Ybor, but sometimes you got to be careful.
Yeah, when you see the chickens start going home.
Yep. I'm going home with the chickens, man. I'm going to do a Michi right on the corner, getting me a slice of pizza, and then I'm getting in my car and going home.
What's one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
Oh, man, I could probably list an hour's worth of podcast on that, but I got this advice from Timothy Thatcher. I read it from Shibata, and Jay said it to me one time. But when Jay said it, it didn't register. Like it went through one ear and out the other. I hadn't experienced enough to know what he was saying. And it's don't think, just do it. If you've got a promo idea, if you've got okay, this is what I want to do in my match, this is what I want to do for my character, this is what I want to do for this, that, and the other, just do it. Don't think about it because you're going to think about it and then you're going to overthink it and then it's not going to be the product that you had. So just go. And since then, it's been off to the races, man. Since that really sunk in to me, I've been doing probably my best work.
Solid advice. You trust yourself.
Yeah,
Trust your instincts.
just go. Because if it's wrong, you can go back.
Yeah.
But just go.
Good advice. You're in the marquee, man. Put them over. Who's in the group?
So the marquee of professional wrestling, and that is myself. That is the good brother Tyler Uriah, who I cannot put over enough. I'm actually going to have to circle back to him because he's got a longer list to put over. So it's myself, it's Tyler Uriah, and it's the Captain Aaron Nova. Aaron Nova, a 10-year vet in wrestling. He's been wrestling for, I think, 11 years now. And the credit I'll give to Nova, and I don't want to discredit any of the veterans in wrestling. And Nova, by all means, will not say that he is one. But if you ask anyone of my experience level or younger, they're listening to Nova about wrestling. Is that he's still learning to pick up things from everybody, where a lot of guys in his shoes think they've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
But he's still trying to go out and go, okay, how do I get this reaction here? How is the video edited? How is all of this put together so he can have a fully faceted knowledge of independent professional wrestling? And Tyler, man, he's untapped potential. To quote Triple H when he was talking about Randy Orton, he's the coal that'll be squeezed into the next diamond. He's so good, and nobody's seen it yet. He's wrestled WWE Proving Ground. He's wrestled a couple CCWs. He wrestled Pro Wrestling Action. He's been around, but yeah, he hasn't had the right opponent, is what I like to say, because it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
And if you can get Tyler Uriah against a Hunter Law, against a Leroy Shogun, against a Snoop Strikes, a Wheezy T when he comes back from his knee injury, guys like that, and they have time. If you can give them 15 minutes, just an open canvas, just go out there and do it, he's good. He's going to be on TV. He's got the look. He's got the mind for it. He's great shape, and he's a sponge, man. He picks up everything, just like me in training, but he's kept it and picked up more and more, even not being in the ring as often as he would like and as I would like. But man, he's picking up everything that's put down, and he's just so good. And I need more people to see him in ring.
He definitely looks the part for sure. And I seen a couple. We saw him in CCW in Tampa, like 6 months ago, against the Monster. Man, he did a good job putting the guy over too, man. So the talent's there for sure.
Yeah, that's so. Being a good wrestler in wrestling is a curse, and I know that's doesn't make sense, right? Like you'd think being a good wrestler, you're the champion. But sometimes if you're the best wrestler in certain areas, and I hate to peel the curtain back so much, but you guys know the in and outs of the business. It's all over the internet. You have to almost try to avoid it at this point. But when you're so good, it's almost your job to how well can you make someone else look good.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the curse that he's got. I call
The
it like the Shawn Michaels effect. And Shawn Michaels was always the top guy, but guys from the early '90s to like the early to mid 2000s always had their best matches with Shawn. Everybody wanted to work with your Shawn Michaels, your Owen Harts, your Bret Harts, guys like that, because Steven Regal, because they can make you look like such a better wrestler than you actually are. And he's gotten that since the beginning. Like he was kind of pigeonholed in that spot. And I can
How do you
say
break?
that because I was also pigeonholed in that spot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. How do you break out of that? You think just having the right match?
I think having the right match and guys seeing that you're more than that, and it takes one. It takes one like standout performance for guys to go, oh, we've got something here.
Yeah.
It's like what was the show? Shark Tank, where they're pitching like different
Yeah.
inventions.
Yeah.
It's wrestling's a lot like that. They have to see the product before they can invest in it. And I think that's the issue with especially a lot of like up and coming guys, because they don't know what they've got. They see an 8x10, they might see a highlight video, but you don't know the whole product yet to invest in it.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at fucking Cody Rhodes. He had to leave and come back.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
they didn't know what they had in Cody, but also I don't think the Cody that left WWE is the same Cody that came back.
Yeah. Yeah, he left the kid and he came back a grown ass fucking man.
Exactly. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. Sometimes you have to go through some stuff in life to really figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And I think
absolutely.
that was the best thing that ever happened to him.
For sure. How'd you and Marquis link up?
Ooh. So we were working the WWN Proving Ground the whole year of 2022. It's 25 now, so 23. All of 2023, I was cruiserweight champ for 8 or 9 months of it. And it was me, it was Tyler Uriah. My apologies. Me, Tyler Uriah, Cam Stewart, Rafael Delgado, Aaron Nova, and a bunch of other guys just in the locker room, constant. And we're picking at each other every Friday because we're some of the only rotating guys. Like we're always there, and other guys are coming in and coming out. So we're just naturally just picking at each other, and you build a camaraderie. And then we all did TNA security work January of 24. And that was the same day that we found out that Francisco Chiazzo passed away. So that was hard on a lot of us. And I remember, I don't know if he's going to want me to tell you the story, but I remember Tyler walked out of TNA security and he's like, yeah, I think this is it for me. Like it was hard on a lot of guys. Like he was ready to just hang it up and stop. And I'm like, oh, wait, hear me out first. What if the three of us really get together and really make something, me, Tyler, and Nova? And it's like, what if we really build this, like we all have different visions of pro wrestling. Like I said, it's flavors of ice cream. I prefer the more old school. Tyler, the best way I can describe it, wrestles like a guy on TV. He very much works the WWE style. And Nova, I almost don't know how to describe it. He's just Aaron Nova. You know what I mean? And it's like, so if the marquee says wrestling, we're presenting three very distinct styles in one group. A lot of tag teams or stables or groups are all very similar. It's all like guys that do the same style all together. But we're three very distinct styles. Like let's bring that together and try to like a full package going to a show.
Yeah.
You know, like my match won't look like Tyler's match, and that Tyler's match won't look like Nova's. It's three very different, like I can't think of the word of it, like visions of pro wrestling.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Something different.
Yeah.
See, something different than anybody else is doing.
And that's the goal, man. I want everybody to have their own style, and I want styles to be brought together. You know, I've been a lifelong fan of wrestling, and I've got the way that I want it to be done. I take wrestling very seriously, and if you ask guys in the locker room, they'll tell you I take it too seriously. But this is how I want it. This is how I would like it to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's very important to me, man. I joke about it with people all the time. Like, this is all I got. Like, I've got a family, got a girlfriend, I've got wonderful roommates who I've kept off camera because they're like right over there and they keep making faces at me trying to get me to laugh. But like I've got very much more in life than I give credit to, but wrestling has been the constant.
Yeah.
You know, relationships go away, you lose your job, you got to move, this happens, that happens. Wrestling has never left. Nothing's ever happened. Like, wrestling has been the same my whole life. So it's very important to me. So the more I can bring enjoyment from wrestling to others, it fills a part of my heart a little bit. It's like the Grinch. Like, my heart grows 3 sizes. Making a fan of wrestling, like whether it's a kid in the front row, a guy in the back that watched it in the 90s and it's not the same that he remembers, but he's a buddy of his told him there was a show and now he's a fan, or the old lady that watched it when it was Dusty Rhodes and championship wrestling from Florida, and her son's in the second match and she just wanted to see it, but now she's going to everyone because she's invested. Like that, I want to bring wrestling to the masses, and I just want to bring more enjoyment out of wrestling. I want people to enjoy it.
Yeah. You can tell you take it seriously too, man, because just the way you carry yourself. Again, you separate yourself from everybody else because it looks like you're all fucking business when you're in there.
I try to be, man. At the end of the day, it is a job.
Yeah.
And I try to keep it professional in and out of the locker room, but it's fun, man. You know, my grandfather told me growing up, if you enjoy what you do, it'll never feel like work.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like I clocked into a wrestling show in my entire life.
And Ginger hasn't worked like in 20 years, so he knows what you're talking about.
Don't hate, Weasel. Don't hate.
Hey, man, he's living the dream.
He is.
Yeah.
All right, so question for you. I don't mean to stir up any shit, man. But GCW 25, Tyler Uriah hit you in the head with a fucking vicious ass chair shot, cost you the championship to August Artois. The angles I saw, man, didn't really look like an accident or anything, man. What was his explanation for that?
Now we kind of worked that one out. We had especially after the match we had at the following GCW.
Black Friday.
He wanted a spot, man, and I get it. And when he told it to me, I'm like, I completely understand, but you picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you sit in the back, you're watching cards, you're seeing flyers every week, and you're not on them, and you're not getting a text back, and it eats at you a little bit. You know, I mean, you can only see so many wrestling cards, so many matches, and not hear back from anybody. It eats at you inside. And he's like, this is going to be my moment. I'm going to make something out of this, and they're going to book me instead of Joe Schmo from wherever. Like, I'm going to get my spot if I have to make it this way or if I have to go. So that's, and when he told it to me, I'm like, could have picked a better way than hitting you with a chair. that wasn't fun. My neck hurt.
Yeah, he laid it in.
Oh, you can say it. Man, he hits like a mule. That I've been dropped on my head more times than I can count. And I don't think I've ever been hurt that bad. That chair shot rung my bell. But man, we worked it out for the most part. And then I got the win, GCW Black Friday. So we're all back to normal.
You got your win before it started pouring.
Yeah. Man, it was cold as hell that day.
Cold as hell. Cold as hell.
I moved to Florida for the warmth. What happened?
It wasn't even supposed to be that cold. It got cold out of nowhere too. I think I never
Yeah.
was prepared for that coldness.
No, I thought winter in Florida was like 2 weeks in January.
Right now.
It is January.
Yeah, like right
now. It's cold as
now.
fuck. Yeah, it's cold as fuck.
Yeah. And next week we'll be back to normal.
Yeah. Back to in 85, 90. You gonna rematch with August anytime soon? Is that in the works?
Not that I've heard of. I don't know when the next Generation Championship Wrestling match. Oh well, yeah, absolutely. I would be too. I say it all the time, so much to where I'll start to say it, and my roommates get mad at me, and they say it back to me. A lot of guys can't lace my Asics, man. I take this very seriously, and when I tell you that I am the best professional wrestler, the best pure professional wrestler, man, I mean it. Like whether it's training, whether it's watching tape, whether it's just breaking down how things are done in wrestling, I'm on the money. It's like a science, technical alchemy. You know what I mean? Like this is it. I break it down to the most fundamental form, and I build it back up from there. So there's a lot of guys like when it comes to actual wrestling, like when it comes to bell to bell in the ring, and I'm not talking promos or entrances or like gear, boots, tight, none of that. When we have to wrestle, there's guys that just cannot keep up, and it's a majority of them. And I'm not saying August is one of those guys that can't keep up. I'm just saying it's awfully convenient that I've still got the Florida heavyweight title, and I haven't gotten a rematch for the GCW heavyweight title.
Yeah, see? Quit being a pussy, August.
Hey, he said
it. Let's
I meant it. He said
it. Gotta wait for his ass comes back from Thailand, I guess, for a shot.
Yeah, I don't know when the next GCW card is, but I know I'll be there waiting for my shot.
Let's sell some more tickets for you. January 18th, you'll be in Lakeland, Florida for Thunder Championship Wrestling's collab with Nerd Street, Streets of Thunder. What can the people expect out of that collab with them?
It's gonna be a fun show, man. I love Thunder. It's especially like comic shows like this. It's a family friendly show. Like it's a good show to bring your kids to. You know, it's collabed with a comic convention, I believe. So there's going to be comics, there's going to be entertainment, there's going to be a bunch of vendors, and a lot of professional wrestling. Like it's just going to be a good time to spend the afternoon over in Lakeland.
You need to go check that out for the day. They're having a over the top battle royal. Bring your own weapons for the 2025 Nerd Street Cup. Are you going to be in that?
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been told what I'm doing yet for TCW, but I wouldn't be surprised if I make an appearance in that as well.
All right, if you're in the match, what kind of weapons are you going to bring?
Well, I'm a big Jeff Jarrett fan, so there might be a guitar slid in there, but it's not practical. You only get one use out of it. So
yeah, you got to make it count too.
I might have to ask old Tyler Uriah if I could borrow that steel cherry dinged me with. Slide it in there.
Boy's got it hanging up in his on his wall in his room.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's got it framed, the little glass case, like break for emergencies type deal.
Yeah. Let's see. January 31st will be in Indiana for Midwest Territories. What's them Indiana crowds like compared to like the Florida crowds?
Man, it's a different scene. Like they so Florida, it's more character and interactions. You know what I mean? Like they want the interaction. You know, and I break this down to up and coming guys all the time. It's like you can do all the moves, but if you look out in the crowd and you give them the Bret Hart, you give them this one, you'll get more reaction than most of the moves you just did. They want that interaction. But that crowd up in Indiana, they want hard hitting, fast paced, like indie wrestling. They want your AEW style, your early Ring of Honor style, the stuff you'll see in CMLL and AAA. They want fast-paced, good, hard-hitting wrestling. So that's what you can expect top to bottom. My match hasn't been announced yet, but what was just announced, I believe it was last night, is Effie versus No Avail, first time ever. And that, if that doesn't sell out the house, I don't know what will. Because No Avail, despite what they say, is an absolute superstar. And if you haven't stumbled upon Effie, you must have not been trying. Like That's going to be a marquee match, if you will, to coin a phrase, for the evening.
Indiana put on some good shows back in the early 2000s, man. IWA Mid South, man, he used to put on some real bangers out there. Samoa
Oh,
Joe, Brian Danielson, CM Punk, all those guys when they first started.
absolutely. And during the pandemic, a company called Paradigm Pro Wrestling did a bunch of like private enclosed tapings. And there were guys like Lee Moriarty, Daniel Garcia, a lot of guys you're seeing coming up on TV now were right there at Paradigm in Indiana. So it's a hotbed for indie wrestling. It also helps it's right in the middle. Like
Yeah,
if you're going anywhere in the country, you almost have to go in and around it
yeah,
to get that.
different breed over there too.
Oh, absolutely.
February 2nd, you're back in Orlando, man, for Mayhem on Mills, defending your championship. You know who you're defending against?
So I'm defending my Mayhem on Mills World's Championship against one Robert Martyr. And I remember when I first won the Mayhem on Mills World's Championship, I put out my championship acceptance speech. I had my assistant make a list. I had Tyler Uriah, Big Ty, the good brother standing behind me, and I went through that entire list of people I wanted to thank. And one of them was Robert Martyr for not being there because I didn't want him there. I didn't want him attempting to steal the spotlight from me, the best pure professional wrestler, the best wrestler in the game today, the king of Florida, the king of mayhem on Mills. And I guess he finally got online. He finally got internet access in his home and he watched that video and he called me out. He wants a shot at the title February 2nd.
You gotta give him the power driver on the outside on the pavers.
Oh, that'll end the match for him, but man, that might end the match for me. I don't know if I want to get back up after that.
February 8th, you'll be in Seminole, Florida for POW's Point of Crisis. You're defending your Florida Heavyweight Championship there.
Yes.
Who you facing there? Any idea?
I'm wrestling Papi Chulo for my Florida Heavyweight Championship, and I'm a little upset about it. This has been kind of coined the workhorse title of POW. The best wrestlers hold the Florida Heavyweight title. It was the Cheese was the inaugural champion, and then it went to Leroy Shogun, who held it longer than just about anybody. Granted, there's been 3 champions, but he held it for maybe a year and a half, and then I took it off of him. I beat Hunter Law. I beat August. I beat the Dirty Man, Dirty Devin Diaz, and who I can't give enough credit to. I'll have to save that for a different time, but he's the man. Love him to death. And then Papi Chulo showed up, and he's not in that caliber of wrestler. He's a politicking guy. He's an ass kisser. I don't know what I can get away with saying on this podcast, so I hope that's okay.
Say whatever you want.
You know, he's let me go talk to the owners and let me see what I can do. Let me grease some palms. Let me go over here. And it's like that's not how we do things. The marquee says rest. They paid tickets to see rest. So unless you're good at wrestling, buy a ticket. Get out. Don't complain and go to HR about how you're not being treated fairly and all that kind of jazz. Like, man, show up and work. And that's not what he's doing. And somehow he weaseled his way into a championship match. So I'm going to have to stomp that out very quickly, get my payday, probably go to Ybor afterwards, hang out with the boys, and celebrate another win, another successful defense of the Florida Heavyweight Championship.
Sorry, Papi Chulo.
Yeah, I
Man,
can't even say anything. I usually always take the Puerto Rican side, but that can't this time. I really think this is all you, dude.
All right, before I let you go, you want to call anyone out, talk some shit about somebody?
Man, if I was talking shit about somebody, we'd be here for 3 hours long. That's my expertise. But if I could shout out anybody, I'd like to shout out Mayhem on Mills, Pride of Wrestling. You know, 2 of my favorite companies to work for. Midwest Territories, up and coming. They're going to be big. Check all of them out on YouTube. You can find almost their entire catalogs, all 3. I'd like to shout out the boys, you know, Tyler Uriah, Captain Aaron Nova. I'd like to shout out forever and always, you know, until I'm gone. I'd like to shout out Francisco Chiazzo. He taught me so much in and out of the ring. I wasn't a student, but just riding on the road. So it's an honor for me to be the king of Florida. I'd like to shout out the boys. Uh, yeah, the boys. I'd like to thank the boys. I can't thank them enough.
Making you
Boys. Oh, always. Tyler Uriah, the big eater, keeping me safe. Except for when he hit me.
look good. Except for when he hit you.
Aaron Nova reminding me that I have to post a promo because I'm gonna forget. It's good to have the boys around, man.
Yeah,
Gotta have the boys.
You always got to post a promo too.
Oh yeah, man, I'm the worst. I'll record it, and then I'll go home. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm watching TV. I'm not paying attention. 3 days later, Nova will be like, "Hey man, you post that promo?" I'm like, "Oh, now let me get you that. My bad."
Oops.
Every time, I'm the worst. I'm a terrible social media person.
But you're on it all the time. You're talking about being on X.
Yeah, man, it's fun to look at other people. I'm bad at posting myself.
All the stupid shit people are saying. Ginger, you got anything for him?
Well, I just want to say thank you for putting your health and safety on the line for our entertainment. Me and we so really appreciate all you professional wrestlers putting your life on the line for us because we ain't doing it. So thank you.
Yeah, we're
Hey,
bitches.
man.
We ain't doing it.
I don't blame you. If I knew it was going to be this hard, I probably wouldn't have signed up for it. But I got to thank you guys for being there, showing up, supporting. It's when you guys are in the crowd, it's always very energetic. There's always big energy, and that it feeds the performers as much as we give you guys the reason to be excited. So I can't thank you guys enough, and thank you for having me on the show, man. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. Go ahead and get your shit out, man. Where can they find you at?
Instagram, Daniel Starling 98. Twitter, it should be Dan Starling 1998 because somebody took Daniel Starling 98 somehow. Facebook, it's just my personal one. I don't have a pro wrestling Facebook, so please don't add me.
Yeah, stay away.
Yeah, I will not add you back. I'm not selling you my gear. I don't know you that well. We're not going to dinner. Leave me alone. But yeah, those are all the places you can find me. You can find me Mayhem on Mills February 2nd. You can find me at Pride of Wrestling February 8th. If for some reason you go to Indiana, you can find me there January 31st. But be careful, it's cold. Yeah, man, I'm trying to be everywhere I can. So you're not following me, but you're gonna find me by accident. I'm gonna be on every show you can imagine this upcoming year.
Keep an eye out for him.
Oh yeah.
Ginger, tell them your OnlyFans. Where can they find you?
I don't have an OnlyFans, right? You can just follow me at Ginger Spice on Instagram. If not, that's fine. But no one's ever going to see my butthole but my wife. Okay, so stop it.
It's gonna sell money, man. End up on T-shirts.
Nobody wants to see my old balls. Okay.
That wrestling dude, DODD, King of Florida, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you for having me.
I gotta find this.